How merchandising is the new gold mine for musicians and content creators. It used to be about the music. Now it's about the hoodie, the hat, the limited drop that sells out in minutes. For musicians and content creators, merchandise is no longer just a side hustle. It's a core part of the business model. In a world where streams pay pennies and attention is fleeting, merch has become the anchor. Let's break it down. Merch is scalable, global, profitable, and emotional. It lives in people's closets, on their backs, in their selfies. It's identity and community, printed and stitched. The smart artists know this. They don't just release a t-shirt. They drop a collection. They build mood boards, work with designers, tease the rollout, create scarcity, make the audience part of the process. And when it hits right, it's culture, not clothing. Merch isn't about selling fabric, it's about building lifestyle. That's what turned Travis Scott's McDonald's collab into a cultural event. Why Kanye West's Yeezy drops reshaped the way we think about artist fashion. Why smaller indie musicians are launching full apparel lines with storytelling at the core. Here's what most people don't see. Behind every sold-out drop is a supply chain. Product sourcing, manufacturing, fulfillment centers, customer service, returns, refunds, sizing, packaging, logistics, taxes. The margins can be great, but only if the back end is dialed in. And that's where many creators stumble. They go from artist to apparel CEO without knowing the business. They drop merch without data. They print too much, or too little, or the wrong color, or the wrong season. And it flops, because merch isn't about having fans. It's about understanding what fans want to wear. Some creators outsource everything. Others go DIY. The smart ones find balance. They test small, launch limited, learn, then scale. The best merch? It doesn't feel like merch. It feels like identity. It doesn't scream, "Support me." It whispers, "We're the same." Fans don't wear it because they're loyal. They wear it because it looks good, feels good, and says something about them. Merch is marketing that pays you. It's brand awareness with a price tag. A walking billboard, a conversation starter. The artist makes money. The fan feels closer. Everyone wins. And that closeness? It's powerful. Because in a digital world, physical things feel sacred. Fans want to hold something, own something, wear something that proves they were there before the fame. That they're part of the journey. That they saw the vision early. This is why pre-orders matter. Why drop culture works. Why exclusivity isn't a trick. It's a bond. And with the right tools, that bond scales fast. But let's talk numbers. An artist with 10,000 loyal fans. If 10% of them buy a $60 hoodie, that's $60 one drop. Imagine doing that 4 times a year. Add socks, hats, vinyl, posters, bundles, collectibles. You've just created a 6-figure ecosystem. All off music that may not even chart. This is how creators stay independent. How they fund videos, tours, teams, without asking for advances, without signing bad deals. Because when your audience buys directly from you, you own the margin. You own the data. You own the relationship. And that relationship? It's your moat. Labels can replicate distribution. Platforms can push ads. But they can't fake community. They can't manufacture meaning. They can't replicate the moment someone wears your merch to their graduation, or first date, or concert, or funeral. Because when you build merch right, it becomes memory. It becomes part of people's story. That's why the next phase of merch isn't just drops. It's legacy. Artists turning merch into fashion labels. Creators launching lifestyle brands. Fan bases investing in capsule lines. We're seeing Patreon tiers that include quarterly drops. NFT holders getting first access. Live stream events with exclusive giveaways. And this leads to the next question. What happens when fans become co-creators? What if your audience helped vote on the next design? Or co-funded a release? Or held equity in the next line? What if merch became more than merch and became movement? Because merch is the only part of your brand people can wear, and worn things get loved. But what happens when creators stop treating merch as apparel and start treating it as infrastructure? That's the question we're answering next. Because the future of merch might be bigger than music itself. The moment merch stops being an afterthought and starts being a strategy, the game changes completely. For artists and creators, it becomes less about selling shirts and more about building an ecosystem where every piece of clothing tells a story, every drop has purpose, and every buyer becomes a believer. This is the evolution of merch, from product to platform. Because what if your merch wasn't just a t-shirt? What if it was a membership card, a pass to unreleased music, a code to a live stream, a badge that gets you backstage, a token of access, community, and value? That's where merch is going, from fabric to function. Smart creators are already doing this. They're tying merch to community platforms. Buy the hoodie, get access to the private Discord. Rock the cap, get your name on the thank you wall of the next video. Wear the shirt to the tour, and get let in early. It's not about selling out anymore, it's about selling in. Now, zoom out. What happens when you treat merch like a startup? You build with intention. You test designs. You refine your audience. You study what sizes sell. You track who returns. You survey your top customers. You launch pre-orders. You don't just drop, you develop. And this process creates something most artists don't have. Data. Who buys, where they live, what they like, what price points work. This data helps shape not just merch, but music releases, tour locations, event planning. Merch becomes market research, feedback loop, focus group, business signal. And with the right data, you don't just sell better, you build better. You start seeing the value of micro-collections. You test colorways with small batches. You use scarcity strategically, not to create hype, but to control cost. You plan your drops around moments. New single? Drop a lyric tee. Tour announcement? Drop the location capsule. Anniversary? Drop a collector's item. And it works, because people don't just buy Whisper for function, they buy for meaning. Let's go deeper. Some artists are now running merch operations like mini fashion houses. They hire creative directors. They collaborate with visual artists. They release lookbooks. This elevates the entire experience. Suddenly, the hoodie isn't just cotton, it's culture. The crewneck isn't just cozy, it's a canvas. The fan becomes more than a supporter, they become a collector. And collectors don't think in discounts, they think in drops. This is why the merch business is evolving toward drops, not stock. No more random re-releases, no more keeping inventory year-round. Instead, everything is seasonal. The merch has a window, a countdown, a story, and when it's gone, it's gone. This creates urgency, but more importantly, it creates legacy. Because if you were there for the drop, you remember it. And if you weren't, you wish you were. That's how memories are monetized. Now let's talk hybrid merch. Creators are now experimenting with digital physical experiences. Limited edition shirts that unlock NFTs, beanies that come with downloadable audio packs, posters that reveal hidden AR experiences. The goal? Merge wearables with technology to build emotional connection and exclusivity. Why? Because the future of merch is experiential, and experience equals value. But here's the twist. Not all merch needs to be expensive. In fact, Many artists are finding success with small-ticket items, stickers, patches, keychains, digital downloads with a physical twist. These lower the barrier to entry while still creating connection. And for a lot of fans, owning something is enough. But no matter what you sell, the key is consistency. Too many artists treat merch like a moment, not a model. They drop once, then disappear. But the most successful creators? They build merch into their calendar. It's planned, aligned with their releases, synced with their content, announced, teased, and celebrated. Because good merch isn't just launched, it's lived. So where's it all going? Toward creator-owned fashion lines, not just tees with logos, full collections, cut and sew, high-concept design, eco-conscious production, models that reflect the fan base, pop-ups, runway shows, collaborations with niche brands, influencers turning into stylists, rappers turning into streetwear CEOs, gamers building cosplay core drops, podcasters making lifestyle merch, everyone building something tangible, long-lasting, and wearable. But there's something deeper emerging. Creators are using merch to fund independence, tour budgets, video shoots, marketing campaigns, because a sold-out drop gives you options. You don't need label backing when your fans are already investing. You don't need brand deals when your audience is your brand. And that kind of freedom, that's priceless. But it also leads to a new question. What happens when merch stops being artist first and starts being fan-owned? What happens when fans don't just wear the story, but help write it? What happens when communities start owning pieces of the drop? When every shirt sold funds the next video, and every fan becomes an investor, not just a customer. That's the next chapter. Scan the QR code to join our community.